Hi, Kristen Zhivago here. I want to talk to you about website design and development. The number one goal when we design a site for our clients is to make sure that it makes it easy for your customers to understand what you're selling and then makes it easy for them to buy from you. They need to recognize themselves the minute they come to your site and know what to do. So it has to be intuitive. It has to follow and support their buying process. This isn't about selling. This is about their buying process and your ability to help them make a purchase. So the first thing we do is we interview some of your customers, people who have already bought from you, and our desire is to reverse engineer a successful purchase so that we can help you manufacture new sales in quantity. Your current customers, the people who have gone through the entire experience, are the best people to explain how they went about buying, why they bought from you and not somebody else, what they thought was special. You know, when I was a revenue coach, I used to go and meet with clients, and at the beginning of the relationship, I would ask them, what do you think is important to your customers? And they had a list, maybe 10 items or something, and it was prioritized. And then I would go out and interview their customers, and I would find out the list was completely different. Maybe a few items were shared between the two lists, but the priority was always different. The things that the company thought were important because they were hard to do or they were proud of them were things that the customer would say, oh, yeah, of course, everybody does that. Baseline industry promises are what I call those. Boats are supposed to float, airplanes are supposed to fly. When you eat at a restaurant, you're supposed to walk away healthy. Those are baseline industry promises. And a lot of times companies will push those so that their site looks just like everyone else's site. There's no real distinction. And the customer is kind of scratching their head saying, well, why should I buy from you? And some of the most important questions, such as, what's going to happen to me after I buy? That's a big question for high scrutiny products and services, is not answered. And yet that's really what the customer is concerned about. That's one of their biggest issues. So we design this to make sure that it answers the customer's questions. As I've mentioned elsewhere, we believe in something I call mindset-driven marketing. The mindset of the customer when they set out to buy. It consists of their desires, their concerns, and their questions. Your site has to address all three of those in that order, and you're going to be much more likely to make a sale. I'm a revenue coach. I want revenue. I don't care how we get it. I mean, obviously, it all has to be ethical and you do the right things, but that's the goal, is a steady stream of qualified prospects coming into your business. Supporting their buying process, addressing their mindset when they set out to buy. These are all really good, solid ways of making sure you make more money. And you also have to convey the promises that you keep. As I mentioned elsewhere, branding is you making promises. Those are the promises you make. Your brand is the promise that you keep. And we need that to be right on top, the promise that matters the most to your buyers. At Zhivago Partners, we only use US-based developers, designers, and writers because we're usually selling mostly to US-based customers, and we know that they will recognize who's writing the copy. And it should be a human. Yes, AI is wonderful for generating sort of dry, anyone could write it content, but it doesn't reflect you. And it doesn't speak directly to the humans who are trying to figure out if they should be buying your product or service. The site needs to be logical and intuitive. Nobody should guess about where they should go. Nothing should be hidden. Again, you want to make it easy for them to go through their buying process. It also has to be commercially competitive. So you need to be able to stand up to all of your competitors. And obviously, competitive and market research is part of what we do when we build a site or redo a site, which is the most common thing these days. And of course, everything we do on the site takes SEO into account. All of the titles and the metas, which are the two components of a search engine result. The title is the blue clickable link at the top of a search engine result, and the meta descriptions are the copy underneath that title. That copy should be written for each page. It should land on a page that keeps the promise that the copy made in the search engine result. And the same thing goes by the way of online ads. You want the landing page, the page they land on, to be a smooth transition from that promise made in the ad. So we do that. We build them for SEO. And then after the site is built, we will provide you with ongoing optimization and maintenance services, because websites, like anything digital, you can't set it and forget it. If you make, for example, if you go in once a month and update all your plugins, those little apps that run in the back end of the site, and one of them does something bad that breaks all the other plugins or all the rest of the site, we need to know that. And we know immediately if your site goes down for any reason at all, or if it has a problem. We actually have a person that does nothing but check sites every couple of days and make sure, just does a round robin around the sites, finds out if there are any broken links, if there's any problem at all, if something's missing. We check all of that for you so that you never have to worry about your site and the back end of your site being healthy and appropriate. We have designers do a great job on the look and the feel, and we have developers who keep the back end nice and tight. It's not bloated. It's not got code that other people can't figure out, which is really important. You want a site that anyone can go and look at and say, okay, this makes sense. And a lot of times the less hand coding, the better for that reason, so that people can figure it out. So all of this goes into the development of websites.